Yes, please.
Can anyone see my desktop?
Yes, we can see.
Perfect. Okay, let's get started. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me for this presentation. So in today's session, we go through the Python basic, and then we'll show you some of the examples of using Python, and then we'll share a link, and then you can play yourself with the Python. So hopefully that gives you some idea how Python works. The objective for today is to understand the basic concept of Python, apply the Python programming basic to the actual scenarios. So let's get started. So content, we're going to go through, because it's a short course, so we're going to go through some topics like what is Python, why Python, how to use Python, and several demos. In one of the demos, I'll share a link. Then you can test those the Python script by yourself. What is Python? First of all, is a programming language. Yeah, so that's for it is a general purpose and also advanced programming language that's founded by Julio Van Rossum in 1989. So it can work with a general purpose, but the major focus for Python is on the data science and AI domain. So although it can also work as the general development stuff, like write the network-based software or website, but the primary use for Python is AI and the data science. Python it can apply to several fields. So most of the fields you can imagine, data science, as we said, that's the primary focus of Python. Python can also be used for writing system tools, developing applications with graphical AI UIs, and writing network-based software, etc. Interacting with a database, so like all other advanced programming language. Why Python? So Python has some advantages compared with other programming language. So it's simple, it's easy to learn, easy to understand. So when you read the Python statement, it's very easy to understand. It's like human writing statement. It's open source. So if you want to see how Python is writing internally, so it's open source, you can always see how the Python is writing. Portability that allow you to read, understand whether very clearly, transparency, etc. And it can scale. It's an advanced language. It can run within a multiple embedded device. It's got a rich library. That's one of the advantage in Python. And of course, it's object-oriented programming language, like other advanced language. So here's some advantage of using Python. To me, the most advantage area is rich libraries. So you will see in the examples in the demos today. There's lots of the functionalities. You don't need to write those functions yourself. You can use a third-party tool and then just reference it, and then it can be used straight away. It's very handy. Application domain for Python. So got rich libraries, AI focused, data scientists, system tool development, apps, automatic OM scripts, web development, etc. So this focus all the areas as like what we said. It's a top language over the years. So I put two ranking website for programming language, as you can see. It's Python either the number 2 or number 1 in all the ratings. Then you see it, all those industry standard programming language like JavaScript or Java or TypeScript or C#. Yeah, along with others like PHP, R, etc. So Python is the most use the language. From salary wise, it's also is not bad. So the average salary for Python job is 67K in the UK. So that's the CW jobs is the is a website for the computer science works jobs. So they do some calculations and analysis for each job type, and Python related is around 67K. In America, in this year's salary, the recent salary is around 108K US dollar. So that is similar, slightly higher, but similar to the UK market. How to use Python. So this class, because we don't have a 1 hour, so we won't cover all those basic statement. But if you want to learn, we have a follow-up course to teach those individual Python programming stuff. But this class is mainly to show you how to use Python. So you have an overview about Python and you know how it works. We have usually we have several ways you could edit the Python script. Number one is the online version is Jupyter Notebook. So we put a URL here. You could use it. It's a free, it's open source. So just like a notepad, you could just open it, create notebook, and then put the Python script in it, and you can run it. A similar online tool is called Colab. So that tool is a Google tool. So basically, it's also a online editor. You could put the Python script in Colab Note, and then you can run it on the website. So we'll show you some demos so you can run it yourself. So whether you're a student or data scientist or AI researcher, you could always use this tool, online tool to do it. If you are a pro Python developer, you could also configure and download this Visual Studio code from Microsoft to run or edit the Python script locally. Locally means you can run the Python script on your machine, and you got lots of flexibilities compared with the online tool. So you have full control on this environment if you are the pro developer. So the recommendation is, if you just learn Python or studying Python, you could use the online tool, so you don't need to worry about this environment configuration. But if you are a developer who want to have a decent Python experience, you want to configure those things by yourself, then the recommendation is use the local IDE, the development environment, Visual Studio Code. Here's how you configure Visual Studio Code. So Microsoft has the full articles how you configure it. Just follow that article step by step, and you can configure Python in Visual Studio Code. Okay, without further delay, we jump into some demos, so that hopefully give you some idea how Python runs, give you some idea about these what we talk about today. We're going to run several demos. The first one, I try to slow it down a little bit. Is we're going to draw a chart, a picture, based on two Excel spreadsheet. Yes. The first Excel spreadsheet is a download from the Bank of England website. Is a bank rate history and the date Bank of England from the Bank of England database. So that's online. You can download it online. It's all open to the public. So it's a bank rate history change. So as you can see here, so that's the first data sheet. The data sheet is 19th of March 2020. The rate is 0.1. The same month a week before is 0.25. So they got immediate drop. Yeah, and then you can tell. You can see when this high, it could be high as 5.75. So that is on 2007. Yeah. So this table, the first table, is give you the history of the interest rate changes. The second table give you the annual price change by country. Yeah. So here you see that's a house price change, by the way. So that's a price change in 2018 September. So that's the sales volume. So you have the percentage changes compared with the previous year, etc. So what we try to find out is what is the relationship? Is there correlations between these two tables? Although that might not be very close to your study area, but what we try to find is a common example that most people can understand. Yeah, so you live in a house, so that is it should be easy to understand the interest rate and annual price change for housing industry. So that's the result. The result is a price change. You can price go down, go up, go down. That's in 2008, it's dropped dramatically from the high into the low value, and then it's it's increasing back. It's actually the latest data sheet. You see the interest rate is about this trend. So this is just an example. It doesn't want to tell you any insight between these two tables, but just show you example. The correlations is also impacted by other factors. So don't use that as a fact, but we just use that as an example to show you how use Python to easily work out with these two tables and then join them together. Yeah, because when you see that tables, because you download from different websites, right? The first one download from Bank of England website. You see how they put the data. It is like this: 19-March-20, etc. But in another website, the gov.uk website, it's only put the year dash month. Yeah, you see the format is different. So you have to join that together. So join these two tables, two Excel spreadsheet together, and then draw that line. So in that result, you'll see it's just the years in it, isn't it? So we need to turn that into the year first, and then we will join by year, and then we'll be able to draw that picture. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to use the Python to do it. Okay, so you can still see my screen, right? So I'm sharing the Visual Studio Code. So that's the UI for Visual Studio Code. First of all, you import Matplotlib. That is a Python library used for the data science to draw pictures based on the tables or Excel spreadsheet. And then you import Pandas. That's also a data science tool. It's a library do the mathematic calculation. First of all, so you actually you input those libraries first, and you don't need to write any code. Just import the library into your Python code. First of all, the interest rate date you can download from Bank of England website. Yeah, you can download it to a CSV format, and then you use that function pd.read CSV to load the CSV data into memory, yeah, into this variable called df underscore read history. Yeah. And then remember we said the data field is combines date, month, and a year. And all we want is we want to convert it to the year column. So we just want to convert that 2008, 8th of March 2008, for example, we just need that 2008 field. So you use that function to date time, and you read that date changed column from the Excel spreadsheet, and use that dt.year function to convert it to a year. So that function will convert that column, the data column, to a year, yeah, as additional column, and then you can print it out. And then you run, and then you calculate that to get the average year rate change. Because this is the example we showed earlier. For example, last year the interest rate changed twice. Yeah, it's not changed once, it's changed twice. So what we're doing here is we don't want to get two uh, same years data. Because 2020 you get two interest rate change, but we only want to get a 1 year change. So what we do is we can group by the year column we just generated. Yeah, we get the average of the rate. Yeah, and then we calculate with the interest rate with as a single date field. So that's called year rate. So that get average of that entire year interest rate change and put into the year rate column. And then you print to the year rate. I show what that runs first. If you click that button to run this script, yeah, I close that. You might go back to the first one. So as you see, we put the, so first of all, that print, the first print is a print with additional column. Yeah. Previously we have two columns, date change and rate. Now we add a new column called year. That's how we add it. So that is only just get the year field from that date change field. Yeah. So that's 2020. That also 2020 because there's two changes last year. That's 2018, that's 2017, 2016. Yeah, so that's the first print does, so give you that list. And then we had another print, if you see that here, so print that year rate. So here is actually, we print out by the year rate, so we only print the year and interest rate, the average of the interest rate. Yeah, as you can see here. In the 2020, it's actually merged into one field. Yeah, because it's got two, and then we get average of these two, and then we put that here. So in that way, we get that a single year with a few with interest rate change as average interest rate change. So that's how we preparing the first table. Yeah. So we get the table. So when you in your real life, you get some data, Excel spreadsheet or whatever CSV format, and the first thing you need to do is just to clean up to get to make sure that table is clean enough for you to use. So in this case, we want to get a single year, and then because we use that as a key to draw another table, that's why we're doing it. Okay. So that's the first. Table we're dealing with. The second table we download from landregistry.gov.uk. That's official date. Just a couple months ago. So again, we download that date and then we put it into the locally, and then we use that function to read the CSV and put object into the df underscore house price. We do the same thing as previously. So we actually take the year out from that column. So we take it out and then we put it in a separate column called year. Yeah. And then we're doing the same thing again. We get the year price, the average year price, if the years got a 2, for example, and then we print it out. So that's how you see it here. That's when you print it out, then you see that is the result. Yeah, 2000, 2001, 2002, etc., etc. And it got 2021 is 9.23. So that is the positive number. That means the house price is increasing. The house price actually increasing is every year actually. Yeah, you got sometimes it's dropped. It's 2011, 10 years ago that's dropped. 2008, 2009 that's dropped. House price changed negatively. It's because the global crisis. Yeah, you see that is the negative change. But recent year, especially last year, The house price increased nearly 10%. You can see that changes. So that what that block of code is doing is just tidy up the second table and use the single year as a key, yeah, to print out those interest rate. And then the third thing we are doing is we're going to merge these two tables together into one. Before we can run that, we can draw that picture. We want to build a large table, and we put the interest rate here, and we put the price change here. And then you see that's like a very, very traditional Excel spreadsheet, isn't it? So when you join them together, you have a year as a key to join up, and you have interest rate price change here. Yeah. So that's how we do it. We use the merge function to merge these two tables using the year column. And then we print it out. That is how it's printed out. And then when we print out, we found there's a problem. The problem is in some year, it exists in one table, in the price change table, but it does not exist in the Bank of England interest rate change table. Because on that, in that 5 years, there's no interest change for that 5 years. Yeah, but the house price is get changed. So what we try to do is we try to we use the previous year's interest rate to fulfill that 2010 rate. So instead of have a non-value, we use the previous value, so it's 1.0, to fulfill that field. That makes sense, isn't it? Because the rate not change, then the rate should be the previous year's rate. Yeah, that's how we designed it. So we use that function to draw that to fill that the year. So fill the NAN, that's the non-interest rate, with the previous year's rate. And then we try to print it out again. And then you can see that in 2009 it's 1, 2010 is 1 because it's not changed, it's not changed, it's not changed. Yeah. And then finally, what we use is we use that function to actually print out this graphic chart to show you that graphic chart. Yeah. So that you see the result. When I click run, you see that result. Now, instead I'm talking, I'm going to give you a link so you could run it by yourself, either now or after this course. So you can run a similar result to see how these things get generated. Let's back to the presentation. So that's the first example I run using Pandas. The second demo I'm going to run is the Matplotlib. Matplotlib is a library, it's a Python library. So that will help to create those interactive visualization chart. You can use it. So that is some of the examples I pasted here. You have a Bocage. That is online tool. It's basically you can run that chart locally or online. I quickly show you how to run it locally, and then I give you that link, then you can try it out yourself. So Matplotlib is also a free, is open source software. You can download from that link. So you can download from this from that link. You can download all the source code. So once you download the source code, you will see there's you can open the source code using Visual Studio Code, and then you can run some of the examples that's already written for you. So you don't need to run yourself. You can just go to these examples and go to the example folder of that source code you downloaded, and then you select one of the example. Just for example, I just selected randomly, and then you can see how the Python is writing with this example, and then you can run it here. You see that's animation example. Yeah, you can run that again. Yeah, animation example. Yeah, just try that one. Oops. You see all kind of example you could run, which you couldn't do from Excel spreadsheet. Excel is just it's just for the end user to use. Yeah, but if you do want to do it more complicated or more flexible way of using those uh, data, and then Python is your choice. Okay, I'm going to run some of the others examples. I to click that, and then you can see it. You see that's a line with different color. You can see the different ones. Try something else. Try a 3D. Oh, that need to run differently. But let me just choose something else to run it. Yeah, so that's enough example. I hope that just show you those libraries how you're going to use it. You can download the source code. As I said, if you want to play with it, just download the source code, see how the example is written, and then you could use some of the code to change to what you need in your subject of study. So that's one library. Another library is called Catch. That one. So let me just see just copy that. Catch example apps. So again, that is open source. So you can download it from the link shows here. Yeah, Catch. You can download it. Once you download it, you can open using the Visual Studio Code. And then in here, you could expose those code examples. For example, that's a folder underneath that folder. And then apps, you could run that, open integrated terminal. And then you could put the run the code here. So that is saying that's already used. Let me see what that the app is doing. Let me just close out. And then you can run that. That's already used. The stock. Oh, I might open that already. Let me just try. This is just saying the code I'm using that's already used by something else. I just try to find out where this code is mentioned. Yeah, download data. Mm. Yeah, okay. Let me run these online samples first. Okay, so that is a link I'm going to share with you, so you could place yourself. Um, So that's a link you're going to use. So that's the Colab library. It has all the code. As an example. So here it's giving you example, and you don't need to configure this Visual Studio Code because I got another browser is running. I just need to close that one. But when you're using this online version, you don't have that problem. This is everything is in the sandbox, so you could just run it, and you see how this is writing here. Let's import this Matplotlib library as a PLT. So PLT uses as a name. And then it's a defined X, Y1, Y2. And then you can draw the line using those X, Y1, and Y2 and draw those lines. And then once you've done it, you can run it straight away from here. And then you can see what is how is going on. If I make some changes, for example, you can run it and you see that this result is changed. So basically you could make the changes online directly and very simply just click that button to run it yourself. Okay. And then the next example is the bar chart example. So again, you could use that. So in your university study, I guess it might be some scenario that you need to generate a chart or bar chart. So you could use a Python, and you don't need to install those offline tool. Just use the online version. Yeah, you can run it straight away, and you can change the number of it, or you can rewrite it once you have the Colab account, and you can run again with a different result. Yeah, historical chart. So you run it with your number, put your numbers here, your data, and then you can run it. So that one is similar. Yeah, you can make some changes, and then you'll get a different result. So how is it clustered? Yeah, that chart is example is a similar. So you could basically run it directly from the website and make some changes. Pie chart even. Yeah. When we have the previous course, I guess some of the question you might have are something like, well, I can run that in Excel. Why do I need to doing that in Python? So that's a very common question. Well, the answer is, first of all, you have a much more flexibilities, and you can run much more complicated chart. You can build a much more complicated chart using Python, as we thought here. And secondly, it's about automation. So imagine this is not you don't need to run you don't need to run it just once. You might need to run it every day because you want to do some comparison, like what we said the previous example. So you need to run some kind of a chart or you want to generate some of the report on daily basis. So those things can automate your work. So you could build a scheduler using Python or something else to schedule to run the script on daily basis or hourly basis by reading some data, the online data or offline data, and then generate that report on hourly basis and then email to somebody. Yeah, so that's the reason you use the Python. It's much more complicated, can dealing with much more complicated stuff and very flexible. Yeah, there's lots of examples you could learn yourself. Got 3D examples, 3D bar, for example, the wireframe plot. Yeah, that's more advanced stuff. Yeah, and those cluster chart, etc. You can even zoom in, zoom out. You see, with those beautiful colors everything can be defined by yourself. If you say for the green color, I want to use that. I want to use a different color instead of green. That's something you could do as well. Yeah. So we can share that link after back to this session. So I'll paste that to the chart link so you can try it yourself. The next demo is how you use the Python to code to code the system tool. The example we put here is Scrappy and Selenium. So those are libraries. You could run the Python. You could load those script, those libraries into Python, and then you can call your browser on your machine. So, for example, is load those libraries, yeah, from those libraries, load into your Python script, and then define the browser is equal to webdrive.firefox. You could use a Google Chrome or Edge, but this one is using Firefox. And the browser.get amazon.co.uk is basically is telling the browser object to open amazon.co.uk website, and then browser find element. So when the web page being opened, it look for the ID. The ID is called tool tab search text box. So that is the ID from amazon.co.uk. Is basically the search box. Yeah. And then you send the key Python to the search box and then do the search. Yeah. I run that. You see what you get. I guess my port number is get sorted now. Yeah, let me try that again. Yeah, have you seen that? So it's very quickly. So when I click that button, it first open the browser, Firefox browser. You see? Yeah, it's open the browser. Go to amazon.co.uk, then put the Python in the search box. Click enter. So that is a kind of automation Python can do, and it's very good at with those library support. Yeah, of course you can search something else or you can download it, etc. Then those are just very easy with Python. Let's take something else. 1 second. Okay, I want to show you something else. So how you scrub the data from the website. So using Python. So that is a website. Yeah. So on that website, you see get all those codes, etc. Yeah, got different code. Yeah, imperfection is beauty, etc., etc. Madness is genius. And you can go to the next page. You see other code quotations. You can go to the next page, and there's lots of pages. You can go to the previous page and the previous page. Our job is to get those things downloaded locally to a JSON file, so you can dealing with that. You can do some analysis, text analysis, etc. So the first step is to download those quotations automatically to your local drive. So the way we're doing it is so we have the script writing itself is Chatbot master. Let me just find it. Chatbot master. So that's already writing. Got the the script we run is basically just a download it's just download those the quotation from the website. Yeah, as you can see, those script is downloaded. Yeah, it's just very quick, so it's not very. Just try to. Hmm. It's I think it's that one. Yeah, it's 145. Yeah, that one is just downloaded. Oops. Let's just try to open it using the same. That's a code is just downloaded, open with the code, so you can see everything in one place. So this is a standard JSON format. So I just reformatted to a standard JSON format. As you can see, all the quotations we just saw are downloaded, right? And you can use that JSON file to do your research work, etc. So that's a way how you download this. It's actually here. It shows here. So if you see the code, it's not difficult. It's actually very straightforward. It's in the spiders. I think it's here. This one. Yeah, so it's similar to what we saw the Amazon example. So it's used HTML tag to basically find the right element. For example, you see the next button, right? The next button, the previous button, etc. So it's used the HTML tag to find that button, i.e., the HTML next has a element and which contain the half, which is a link, and then you click that button. So that basically that's to define the next page URL. So you're saying next page URL is not none, and then you request, then you that basically just click that button to go to the next page. Okay, so that hopefully give you some idea how what's what can be used with Python. The last demo we're going to run today is the Python in application in Chatbot. The demo we're going to use is so you can install those Python the Chatbot libraries, such as like other libraries you installed. So you use the pip install bot builder core. So that's Microsoft chatbot framework, bot framework. And then you can download the samples from the GitHub, so as we did previously, and then you can just run the examples. I just quickly run it. So when you download the source code from GitHub, like other open source software, is always give you samples or examples where that you can learn. So you can open the samples folder. You will see the samples is written in C Sharp, in Java, in JavaScript, in Python, and TypeScript. Yeah, these are top 5 most popular programming language. So you open the Python folder, and you see a lots of subfolders. So how you control the boat. So what we're going to use today is a multi-turn promote boat. So you open the app so you can see how this is writing. Again, control boat is complicated, but this library, the boat framework library, already defined a lot of operations for you. So you don't need to write a lot of code using Python. So that's all the code you need to write. It's about 100 lines of code. When you run that, so when you run that Python code, it's actually running on behind the scene. is running on the background. So that's give you the URL. You can publish a boat to the internet, to Azure service, for example, or you could use this boat framework emulator just to emulate what's going to happen once you publish that boat to your user. So this is just emulator. You open that URL. Now you have the boat running behind the scene in Visual Studio Code, and you have the emulator running in front of you. So in here, you say hi, and you see the boat immediately give you a response, right? Please enter your mode of transport. Let's say car. Enter your name, Jim Wong. Would you like to give your age? Yes. My real age, 20. Please attach a profile picture or type any message to skip. So you can even upload a photo. So now I click that button to upload a photo of mine. You take some time to get processed. It asks you, is this okay? You say yes. And then it give you it's actually go back, come back with all those confirmation with you. So I have the mode of transport as a car, and your name is Jim Wong, and age is 20. This is your profile picture. Yeah, as you can see, when you get that information, when the boat got those information, it can do a lot of things, right? So it's not only just doing this sample telling you, but also can do a lot of uh, other things. I When you ask a shopping assistant and you want to check your order status, you don't have to talk to the human agent anymore. So this is industry trend that the bot is making more and more popular. That to improve productivity. So you could the shops they could just use that without the human interaction. Yeah, if bot cannot answer your question, it can hand off to the human agent. That's not a problem, but a bot is always being treated as the first goalkeeper, um, just to save a lot of the labor cost. Yeah, so lots of company doing it, so you could use a Python to control the boat. Give you another example. Let's run another example. Let's just stop that one. I think previously wasn't stopped. So that's using card, for example. And then you run that. So that's again, that is running, no problem. Is running behind the scenes. So that is listening on that URL. So in the boat emulator, you do the same. Open the boat. Open that URL 3978. That's a port number is being used. So welcome to the Carbo. So when you run that, so the first is actually send you a greeting message. So welcome to the car boat. This boat will show you the different type of the rich card. Please type anything you get started. I put OK here. Okay, what car would you like to see? You click the type of the car name, adaptive car, for example, right? So that give you what that adaptive car looks like. So imagine you could book. That's just a flight example. Yeah, you could do a lot of things. A order a mail, for example. You talk to a boat, order a mail. The boat is smart enough to recognize your ID and then give you recommendation based on your previous orders. Yeah, and they give you a menu like this. Yeah, you can order, or you give the flight information if it's a flight boat. um, so I go back to that. So animation card, I want to see that. So you see, it can give you a link of video. Again, let's see what this audio card looks like. Can give you audio card. Yeah, you can play it. Yeah, and then you can read more, and then that will open a link. They open a new link. So that will tell you open a new link. Yeah, we test. I've just put back hero card. So that's got more information about the card, and then auth card. So that will let you to sign in. You know the example I gave previously. When you booking a flight information, or you buy something previously, it asks you to sign in first. So once you sign in, the system will know your previous orders. He will know your preference, and based on that, the bot could give you recommendations of what could be interested to you. Yeah, so that's an industry trend. Is everybody is working on it. It's very popular technology. So you can use the Python to control bot. Right. Let's get back to our presentation. Um, so that is architecture diagram. So how that works basically. Yeah, the user using the device and channel, whatever the channel is chatting to bot, and then bot can come back with. So I want to add another statement here. So when you're using Python to write a bot, a bot application, yeah, it can cover all the channels. Yeah, it's not only cover this emulator channel. It can cover like WeChat, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, SMS. So all those channels. When the customer come talk to you about something, then you can always go back with your bot. You have one bot logic, and then go back to all the same message. So that's of course the platform got some limitation. I.e., the SMS, it doesn't receive the pictures, but at least you can send the text back to that channel. So that's another advantage. In terms of the next step, um, so in this class, we mainly just tell you what is Python and what is the advantage of Python, and some demos to give you an idea how the Python is running. But if you want to learn the step by step, how should I write Python code, etc. Huawei has a Python program basic class you could attend. Yeah, so so that one has some detail explain how you write Python code. But as I said, it's very straightforward. The GitHub link. So we put some GitHub links here that we used in this presentation. Pandas, Matplotlib, Botcatch, Scrubby, Selenium, Bot Builder platform, and also some of the examples. Yeah. So as a summary, so this chapter introduced the Python programming language, demonstrate the Python programming basis to actual scenarios. Just to think about how you're going to use that. How can you use Python in your real life or your real study life, and help you to do some automation, more complicated um, the work compared with the Excel spreadsheet. If it doesn't support, it's actually straightforward. Just don't be so afraid of using this program language, because it's really easy to learn. I think that's it for my presentation. Thank you very much. I'll hand it back to Mr. Huang.
Thank you, Jin. Thank you. Python is definitely very fascinating program language and play like a magic. I hope I'm a programmer too, like a magician. Okay.
It's actually straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now we go into the Q&A session. So if you have any question regarding Jin's presentation, or any question regarding Python programming, you can put in the chat, and then we will select some question to answer. Here's a lot of students asking question about the voucher and the other questions. We will answer your questions in another session. Thank you. Now we have one student asking what's the difference between Python and R, if you have any experience.
It's a two programming language. They all focus on AI and data science. So this is just a two programming language. if you look at the R and the Python, R is about number 7 in the programming list, and Python is number 1. R's got some advantage, but it's not like Python cannot do. It's just different languages with a slightly different focus.
Yes. Okay. Next question is will it get confused if he learn 2 programming languages?
Can I get confused when learn? No, you're not. No, you're not. When you understand more and more programming languages, then you actually you it's very familiar. So when you know one language and then you try to learn another, it's much quicker actually.
Thanks.
I just put a link that we used for this demo, so you could play around yourself.
Great, thank you very much. Yeah, there's there's a lot of students asking about the link that you're using and the tools, and later we will share some of Jim's slides to all of you in the follow-up emails. Please just remember to check your mailbox. Okay. Do we have other questions regarding Python and then the course related questions? Okay, I will wait a couple of seconds for students. Okay. Okay, then I think this is okay. There's one last question maybe.
Do you think Python can help with a non-IT student career development? Absolutely, absolutely. The reason is in the recent you can see the industry trend is the most popular people is the people cross the domains. Yeah. For example, you learn product management or you learn something else. You learn accounting, for example. Nothing to do with IT, but in the recent years, one thing is becoming very popular is called citizen developer. Citizen developer is the people who's not in the IT department, but have the sense of IT. So those group of people is very, very popular recent years. Because we talk about the no code, low code development, right, in the recent years. So there's some of the development work which traditionally you rely on the IT guys to do it. Now the business guy can do it with some skills. So certainly helpful if you are interested in technology and IT. I met many people. They have no IT background, the pure business, but they do have some IT skills. So certainly helpful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, now we receive a lot of questions. If you have time, we can do another maybe 5 minutes Q&A.
Yeah. Can we use a multi-programming language to process data? Yeah. Answer is yes, but you don't have to. Yeah. Start from simple. I agree with the previous comment saying. Yeah. Start from one. You don't have to start from multiple. What do you mean by one of the advantages of Python is transferability? It's a transparent. So what is right? So you know what is right. So it's just there's no confusion for it. Could you please offer some tips developing a career as a data analyst? Oh, thanks. I recommend you just do some look at the YouTube, because I know some of my friends they are actually looking at those YouTube channel. So how you become the develop my career as a data analyst. From what I know, it's you have to become if you want to become the data analyst, you have to become a very mathematical people. So it's like the math-driven people.
Okay.
In the technology consulting world, what kind of Python skilled person with a business what can Python skilled people with a business background be? It depends on your domain. So if you join a company is a public sector, then your job is limited to the public sector. If you join a banking, then it's a banking. The people I met with a full of this background, there's no, but they could be the PM, they could be sales, and it could be marketing people who's just familiar with. They just like IT. You know, it's especially when in recent years the development is getting more and more simpler, so people just enjoying it.
Yes.
Online Python code. That's a Huawei Python code. That's quite good. That's in my slide. You could join that.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. I think there's a lot of questions and your answers really. I think I hope all the students get their answers. But if you have any further questions, you're welcome to put in the chat, and we'll collect questions to answer you. Okay, I think we don't have further more questions. Thank you very much, Jim, for today.
Okay. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Yeah.